What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, Monday night, we have a game tonight in a couple hours here, so we'll be watching that for sure. But I want to get this waiver wire report out for you guys so you can watch it on Tuesday or Monday night if you have the time. A lot of injuries this week. So what we're going to do here, and I did put the link in the description if you guys want to follow along and look at the waiver wire report. Otherwise, use the timestamps on there to find your position that you need. But we're going to go over and start with the injuries here on the waiver wire report. This week for week 8, you're going to have two teams on bye, Kansas City and the Chargers. And then look at this huge list of injuries, starting with the quarterbacks. Ryan Tannehill hurt his ankle. He's going to be listed as questionable for week 8. He did return to the game, but we'll definitely be monitoring his reports leading up to Sunday. You got Russell Wilson still questionable with that hamstring. It sounds like he's on track to play. Again, they're going to fly to London for the early game on Sunday, week 8, so we'll watch his reports, but I think he's going to play. Baker Mayfield, we're going to list him as questionable for week 8 with that high ankle sprain. It sounded like Sam Darnold has a chance to be activated this week, but I'm assuming PJ Walker is going to get the start, so watch for that. And then Matt Ryan, this was the biggest news probably of the day on Monday here. Matt Ryan, he's got a shoulder injury, and he technically was benched. And for what it sounded like, it's going to be Sam Ehlinger for the rest of the season, unless an injury or something happens. So Matt Ryan's going to be on the shelf for now. If you're rostering him in one QB leagues, you probably just drop him outright. In two QB leagues, I think he's worth holding on to, but we'll see. Looking at the running backs here, you have DeAndre Swift still watching that shoulder ankle injury. Coming off the bye, I wish he could have played. We're going to list him as questionable for week 8. I think he's more towards probable, though. J.K. Dobbins, still from last week, knee surgery. He's going to be on IR. I doubt he's going to be useful at any point the rest of the season. So if you're holding on to him, I don't know if I would, unless, if you need the IR space for someone else, I think you can drop Dobbins. Otherwise, keep him in the IR. He does have a chance to return maybe by December. Breece Hall, this was the other major news from Week 7's games. Season-ending knee injury. So this one really hurts. They also lost one of their best offensive linemen, Elijah Vera Tucker. So huge blow for the Jets. Breece Hall, that's going to lead to Michael Carter being the starter. So we'll talk about him in a second. You also have another, I guess that's it for the running back. So I guess we're okay there. But with the receiver position, you have Mike Williams. He's got or DK Metcalf. He's going to be listed as doubtful for week 8. It sounded like he avoided anything serious. Might be a couple weeks off for him. We'll see here, but the reports and the MRIs today didn't come back with anything, season ending or anything like that. Wide receiver Michael Williams, he's got a high ankle sprain. The Chargers are on bye this week, so there's a chance that he's going to be available for week 9. I'm going to list him probably as doubtful for week 9 for right now, so make sure you find replacement potential for week 9. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's listed as a concussion. They said that he's not going to be in the concussion protocol, though, so that's a weird one. He didn't play very much. You think he was out in the first quarter. We'll list him as questionable. You have Alan Lazard, who hurt his shoulder. He was seen in a sling today in the locker room. He's going to be listed as questionable for week 8. Russell Gage with a hamstring, questionable. Corey Davis, a knee sprain. I have him as doubtful. It sounded like he was going to be day-to-day, so we'll watch his reports. Nico Collins going to be doubtful for week 8 with a groin injury. Michael Thomas, they had the short week last week playing on Thursday Night Football, so he's going to be listed as questionable for week 8. I think he's more probable than questionable. Not sure about Jarvis Landry, though. He's going to be listed as questionable. Jahan Dotson tweaked the hamstring in practice last week. He's going to be doubtful for week 8. Julio Jones, we shouldn't be trusting Julio Jones for fantasy, but he's going to be questionable for week 8 with that knee. And then the major tight end news of the week is David Njoku with a high ankle sprain. He was killing it, too. He had basically all his, he had 14 fantasy points before halftime. He would have had a much bigger game, had a chance for a really nice breakout game again. I think he's tight end 4 on the year for PPR, so that's unfortunate. He's going to be listed as doubtful for week 8. They do have a bye week 9, so that does give him 2 weeks to heal. He's going to be questionable for week 10. Daniel Bellinger, he had I think he broke an eye socket or something, so he's questionable for week 8, but we're not really caring about that. We'll watch for Darren Waller and his hamstring, questionable for week 8, and then Logan Thomas with his calf injury. So huge amount of injuries. I might have missed one or two. Again, when I go over this, I upload it on Monday, and I'm continuously adding to this report, on Monday and Tuesday and even Wednesday if I have to. So check back for the reports on Tuesday, see if there's anything been added to it. But that's the injuries. Let's move on to the quarterback segment. And probably, Superflex, that's what most of these guys are listed for. But if you need a starter this week, no Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes, So if you can get your hands on one of these guys, Stafford, Carr, Prescott, Tua, Cousins, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, your best available streamers this week, and a lot of people drop Cousins over the bye. So I like him at home against Arizona. Geno Smith versus the Giants, that's fine. But again, no DK Metcalf. That does lower Geno's stock a little bit. You're probably going to see Geno dropped in a lot of leagues. I suppose if Russell Wilson plays, in Jacksonville, he could be streamer. I'm not sure I love Trevor Lawrence against Denver. Jared Goff versus Miami, maybe. It was just a complete disaster against Dallas. But it's Daniel Jones, man. He had the massive game. He had the 100-yard rushing day, looking like a fringe QB1 right now. So if you can't get Kirk Cousins, I do like Daniel Jones at Seattle. Garoppolo, Fields, Mariota, Brissett, Tannehill, Wilson, Pickett, Mac Jones. Maybe Heineke at Indianapolis if you need to go super deep. Maybe even Davis Mills versus Tennessee if you have to go super deep. And then for super flex leagues, Sam Ellinger is going to be a must add this week. I mean, nobody's got him. He's 0% rostered in ESPN league. So if you need it, that's your guy. And then stashes in Superflex League. This list got kind of long here. Of course, if anyone drops Matt Ryan in Superflex Leagues, just add him to your roster if you have the room. Carson Wentz will be back soon. Deshaun Watson, even in one QB leagues, Deshaun Watson should probably be stashed at this point. If anyone lets go of Jameis Winston, he might be starting soon. But then Baker Mayfield, Teddy Bridgewater, Cooper Rush, Bailey Zappi, PJ Walker. These guys are just, emergency stash plays if you need someone in case of an injury to one of the starters there. And then we got the rookies, Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder. We probably aren't going to see Malik Willis anytime soon now that the Titans are winning games, but Tannehill does have that ankle thing, so we'll watch that. And then with the Falcons, we'll probably see Desmond Ridder at some point this year. It just remains to be seen when. And then Sam Darnold, I actually like picking him up in Superflex. He's probably the best one to stash of this group because I'm assuming, again, PJ Walker, one more start, and then we might be looking at Sam Darnold starting week 9. So those are the quarterbacks. Let's take a look at the running backs. You should have picked up Eno Benjamin a week or two ago. He is the top priority if you need someone. Maybe James Conner plays, that could take some steam off of it. But the Cardinals have a good bunch of backs here. They have James Conner, Eno Benjamin, and then Keontae Ingram down here. So Benjamin's hanging. He's worth a roster spot. But the pickup of the week is going to be Michael Carter. Again, we mentioned Breece Hall out for this season at the top of the show. Michael Carter, and especially in PPR format, he's going to be a nice PPR running back too for you. He'll have some boom weeks. The Jets did lose one of their best offensive linemen again, so it's not like I'm super like gung-ho about it. Like he's not going to be a running back one the rest of the way, but I do think Michael Carter needs to be owned if he's available in your 10 or 12 man league. If you can't get Michael Carter, go ahead and get Brian Robinson. He continues to look good as like the punishing style running back. He's a hard nosed. He's going to hit you. He likes the contact, and he's a good short yardage runner. He didn't score a touchdown, but he still hit double digits in PPR against the Packers. So I like these top 3 guys. Darrell Henderson might be the last week to be able to trade away Darrell Henderson, as the Rams were in on Christian McCaffrey. So that tells you what they think about their running back room. You also have the rookie Kyron Williams, who I have down here. He's going to be activated from IR either this week or next week. So he's a really good stash play. Naheem Hines, just useful in PPR leagues. We'll see what happens with Ellinger, but he still hit his 9-point floor yesterday. Khalil Herbert's still worth a stash. If anything happens to David Montgomery tonight, Herbert would be the priority for the waiver wire. J.D. McKissick, not looking so good. He's kind of been lost the last 2 weeks, so he's starting to look not like a must roster in 12-team PPR leagues. And then you got the Panther backs. They absolutely took it to the Buccaneers. It's Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. Hubbard actually was the starter in this game and was getting more work until the ankle injury, and then Foreman took over. Foreman had a big run of 60-plus yards that kind of boosted his day, but if anything, if Hubbard can't go this week, it's going to be Deonta Foreman, so he is a priority if you can't get the top guys. Madison still a stash. Algier did score a touchdown. I don't love Algier, but he does have a nice matchup against the Panthers this week, so I suppose it could be a good spot start if you need someone. And again, if Hubbard's available and he's healthy, he might lead the team in carries again, and he was leading them in carries and snaps and all that stuff. So Hubbard and Foreman both rosterable at this point. I'm probably going to add some stars in bold Latavius Murray here as Mike Boone. They put him on IR, so that leaves Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray. Murray got the goal line touchdown. They've been getting him carries, and he might be the back to own in Denver. Rashad White still a hold, and then Gus Bus. He came in and got the 2 touchdowns. He looked good doing so. He's not so valuable in PPR formats, but he is very valuable in half and standard. He's just not going to catch the ball very much in that offense. They just don't throw to the running backs pretty much at all. So Gus Edwards, he's going to be your touchdown-dependent guy. He'll get you 40 to 60 yards every week, but it's a touchdown that will make your day. Pacheco, dudded on his starting opportunity. Wasn't very good. I'd rather own McKinnon at this point. And then again, I mentioned Kyron Williams, Keontae Ingram, just a super deep guy. But those are the running backs I'm looking at. Let's move on to the wide receiver position. Guys, again, I'm listing them under 70% rostered, and I have this filtered by the percent rostered on ESPN. So guys at the top of the list probably owned. That's Hunter Renfrow, Darnell Mooney, Robert Woods, Allen Robinson, Gallup. I think all 5 of these guys need to be owned in 12-man leagues. 10-man leagues, I can see where there's questions. I do like what Darnell Mooney's been doing of late, though, so he's probably one of the guys that sticks out the most. After that, Romeo Doubs struggling. Rondale Moore kind of got lost last week behind Hopkins and the other guy there who caught the touchdown, Greg Dortch. Tyler Boyd, probably a must-add right now. He's thriving in that Bengals offense, and it's hard to say when he's going to blow up, but you see the ceiling there. He's got a high floor in PPR format, so I love Tyler Boyd. And then George Pickens, man, he was the best-looking receiver last night for the Steelers against the Dolphins. MVS had a big play. He's a guy that you could whip out in emergency situations. He's on bye this week, so I don't think it's a good ad. Elijah Moore could get more work on his plate. With the Corey Davis injury, we'll be watching that. If Corey Davis is out, I like Elijah Moore. Alec Pierce, it's probably the end of the Alec Pierce road with Ellinger, but we'll see. Duvernay, McKenzie, these guys are kind of whatever. I do recommend stashing Treylon Burks, though. He's IR eligible right now, so if you can slide him in there, I would totally recommend stashing him. He's going to be coming back maybe in 2 weeks, maybe by week 10, potentially. Zay Jones continues to look good as the number 2 receiver in Jacksonville. Marvin Jones, the clear number 3 there. If you're able to stash Jameson Williams, he's going to be coming back in mid-November. And with DJ Chark now on IR, they don't really have a good number 2 receiver behind Amon-Ra St. Brown. Williams could be useful for the fantasy playoff stretch. Hardman had the big game yesterday. I don't know if we can trust him week to week, but I think if you need someone to whip out there off your bench, Hardman can be useful for bye weeks coming up. And then Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm going to add some stars and some boldness to him. He should be rostered, even in 10 and 12-man leagues. He's the number 1 receiver for the Giants. And then Peoples-Jones, I think in 12-team leagues or deeper, he's had a couple consistent games in a row. And now with David Njoku out at least for week 8 Monday Night Football, Peoples-Jones looks like a nice streaming option this week. And then Paris Campbell, he had a nice game. It's going to be with Ellinger, but we'll see. But those are the receivers I'm looking at. Let's take a look at the tight ends. The tight end room, again, these guys must be owned at the top of the list here. Don't drop Njoku if you have him. Go pick up Dalton Schultz if you can. Gerald Everett, they're on bye this week, so maybe we'll see his numbers come down. But Dawson Knox needs to be owned. Robert Tonyan needs to be owned. Taysom Hill needs to be owned. And then after that, like Hayden Hurst, he's a boom bust guy, but he's a fringe tight end 1 right now. Jasicki's touchdown dependent. The DK Metcalf injury might open things up for Noah Fant. Evan Ingram actually looks really good in this offense too. He's been hitting double digits the last few games. I like Ingram against the Broncos. Herb Smith's got a good matchup coming off a bye against the Cardinals. And then everybody else down here, I'm not sold on Kmet. Dulcich actually looked good the other day. He was their best receiver. I guess Jared Jeudy was, but Dulcich actually had a nice game. And then Cade Otton is interesting. They're playing on a short week. They're on Thursday Night Football. He's hit double digits a couple times this season. And with Cameron Brate likely out, Otton's been getting a lot of work in the passing game. So he's kind of a sneaky sleeper. Jawan Dotson, he's not going to catch all those touchdowns every week, but he is a guy that's been heating up. And then Harrison Bryant, just because David Njoku's not going to play week 8. So let me know if you guys have tight end questions. Let's finish this up with the defenses that I like this week. Again, guys at the top of the list, I know they're probably owned, but if you can get Dallas, go ahead and do it. Tampa or the Buffalo Bills against the putrid Green Bay offense right now. Even the Patriots, one of my favorites against the Jets. You got potentially the Eagles were dropped over the bye week against Pittsburgh. That's a great spot here. I don't even mind the Commanders going up against the Sam Ehlinger-led Colts, or even the Colts against Taylor Heineke. He was pretty turnover prone against the Packers. And then after that, everything else just kind of seems meh at the most point. But let me know if you guys have questions. Those are the defenses that I like for the week. And that's the waiver wire report for week 8. Again, if you guys want to check out the link in the description, check out thefantasyfellowship.com. Subscribe if you are new. Check us out on TikTok. Again, check out the website. And thank you guys for your time. We'll see you in a couple days. Peace.